The garbage cans rattled as they scraped across the driveway, the sound carrying through the warm Omaha morning. It was just before 11 when 19-year-old Jason Jolkowski helped his younger brother pull the cans back toward the garage after pickup. A neighbor glanced out and caught a clear look at him in the driveway. Tall, lean, wearing a white Chicago Cubs t-shirt, a Cubs cap pulled low, black dress pants, black dress shoes, and his red Fazoli's work shirt folded over one arm. He looked like a kid getting ready for a normal shift at a normal job on a normal Wednesday. Nothing about the moment suggested it would be the last time anyone would ever see him. Jason had agreed to come in early that day. His managers at Fazoli's had called asking if he could cover an extra shift, and he said yes immediately. He didn't have a reliable car, his was in the shop, so he planned to meet a coworker at the parking lot of Benson High School, the school he had graduated from, and a landmark both of them knew well. It was only half a mile from his house, a straight walk through familiar residential streets. He had walked it countless times. It should have taken him 10 minutes. Around 10:45 a.m., after helping with the garbage cans, Jason stepped away from the garage and started down the driveway. He told his family he was heading out. Then he walked toward the neighborhood he had lived in for years, carrying nothing but his work shirt and whatever small amount of cash he kept in his pocket. No backpack, no ID, no bank card, no reason to think anything dangerous waited between his front door and the school. Jason Anthony Jolkowski was shy, soft-spoken, and deeply attached to his family. Born in Grand Island, Nebraska, he had grown up close with his parents, Jim and Kelly, and his younger brother Michael. They'd moved to the Benson neighborhood years earlier, settling into a routine life surrounded by people who recognized Jason's daily walks and friendly, quiet manner. He avoided drinking, avoided trouble, and stuck to steady habits that made him predictable to the people who knew him best. He had learning disabilities that affected his speech and communication, which sometimes led strangers to think he struggled more than he actually did. In truth, Jason was bright, tested above average, and worked harder than most to keep up in school. After graduating from Benson High, he enrolled part-time in a radio broadcasting program at Iowa Western Community College. Behind a microphone, he found confidence. He learned to speak clearly, practiced reading scripts, and dreamed of becoming a professional DJ. To pay for classes, he held a job at Fazoli's near 85th and Cass. He was reliable, punctual, and the kind of employee managers knew they could call on last minute. That's what happened the morning he disappeared. Sometime between 11:15 and 11:30 a.m., Jason's coworker pulled into the Benson High parking lot, expecting to see him walking across the pavement. When he wasn't there, she waited a few minutes and then called the Jolkowski home. Jason's family thought maybe he'd been delayed, maybe he'd show up any moment, but the minutes kept passing. Then the hour, then the next. Jason never showed up at the school. He never called. He never arrived at work. By early afternoon, his parents contacted the Omaha Police Department. Officers went to the school, checked the entrances, checked the sidewalks, and spoke with staff. Security cameras covering the parking lots and doors were reviewed. There was no sign of Jason anywhere on the tapes. Searchers walked the likely route between his home and the school, looking for anything that might indicate what happened. A struggle, a fall, a collision, a dropped item, anything. There was nothing. No debris, no clothing, no witnesses, and no reports of a pedestrian accident. It was as if he had vanished into thin air in broad daylight, on a walk he had taken 100 times, in a community where neighbors often recognized him. Investigators went through every logical explanation. If Jason had chosen to run away, he did it without preparation. He had about $60 on him at most. He left his ID and bank card behind. His bank account has never been touched since that morning. He didn't take clothes, didn't pack belongings, didn't leave a note, and didn't have a reason to walk away from a life he was actively building. He just lined up a new job and was planning for the next semester of classes. Police classified him as an endangered missing person. His description: 6'1", brown hair, brown eyes, around 160 to 165 pounds, Cubs shirt, black dress pants, went on flyers and into databases. Over the next months and years, tips trickled in from around the region, but none brought investigators closer to finding him. One seasoned officer later called it the most baffling case he had seen in 30 years. Even today, the investigation remains open. His parents refused to let the trail go cold. They contacted the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, sat for interviews, and kept Jason's face circulating in print and on air. Age-progressed images were created to show what he might look like as time passed. None led to a confirmed sighting. Instead of shutting down under grief, Jason's family built something. In 2003, Jim and Kelly founded Project Jason, a nonprofit dedicated to helping families of missing people navigate the confusion and isolation they themselves had been thrown into. The organization supported devastated parents, created awareness campaigns, and pushed law enforcement agencies to strengthen communication. Their advocacy reached the state legislature. Working with lawmakers, they pushed for a centralized system to improve how missing person information was collected and shared. In 2005, Nebraska passed what became known as Jason's Law, establishing a statewide missing persons clearinghouse. It was a permanent system built in honor of a teenager who took a short walk and never came home. Jason's disappearance also shaped his mother's life in ways she could never have imagined. Under her married name, Kelly Murphy, she became a nationally recognized advocate, receiving state and federal honors for her work on behalf of families who had nowhere else to turn. Through Project Jason, she helped thousands find guidance in their first impossible days of searching. Now more than 2 decades have passed. Jason would be in his mid-40s today. The house he left that morning is still standing. The school he was walking toward is still there. The distance between them, half a mile, has not changed. What happened somewhere along that short stretch of road remains unknown. No confirmed witnesses, no physical evidence, no remains. Only the memory of a teenager in a Cubs shirt, promising he'd be at work, stepping out into a normal Wednesday and never returning. Thank you for listening to The Lantern's Tale. Subscribe for more true stories, if you dare.